Hey Weirdlings, Danielle back again. We are gonna make a really exciting thing today. It's gonna be super quick, ideally very easy, and should be really awesome, especially if you live in Austin and there are no bags anywhere anymore. We're gonna make a Totoro bag. This is my Totoro bag that I made first. You can see that it's a drawstring bag and it's also very well loved because I've spilled several things on it, but yours is gonna be brand new and clean for you to ruin your way. So I'm really excited to share with you how to make this thing. This bag goes with me everywhere. This one takes all of my art supplies, all my super cool fun stuff in there. Super cheap bag, really easy to make. Let's get started. All you're gonna need for this bag making process is a bag, a cardboard or very thick paper of some kind to go in the bag. This is gonna keep your paint from bleeding onto the other side. And then acrylic paints and or fabric paint. I'm using acrylic paints because they can layer and dry really quickly, and you can get lots of really great colors with them. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're only using white today, but let's say you wanted to do a bell or an Ariel on your bag, then you could use acrylic paints, layer them up a few times, and you'd have a really, really great color true image that you painted on a bag. Just because I'm doing something really simple doesn't mean that you can't do something really complex. The tools and the tricks are the same, you just have to pick your image. I love Myazaki, so I'm gonna do Totoro on my bag. And I guess the way that we're gonna start right now is to clean a brush. I poured white acrylic paint into a palette, and so I am just going to take some of that, mix it around a little bit, and get to painting. Totoro is made up of almost all really simple geometric shapes. It's just circles and triangles. So I don't feel the need to draw out anything beforehand. I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate and let this do its thing. The first thing I'm gonna do are Totoro's eyes. I'm gonna use the bag arms as references for how far apart I want them. These are gonna line up with the middle of the eyes. So I'm just going to lightly push on my bag and make a circle. We want to approximate how tall they are in reference to each other. And if you make one eye bigger than the other, you can just use your paint to thicken it out. I always think it's cutest when Totoro's eyes are almost crossed, so I'm gonna do that here. I'm going to anticipate where his pupils are. They're gonna be closer to the middle. I'm just gonna use the white to trace around where they would be. We're just painting his eyes right now, leaving that black space for his pupil. You want to try to make the outline around that as hard as possible, so make sure that you push on your brush and use the edge of it to trace where you want that hard outline to be. All right guys, we're switching to the other eye now, working from the outer part towards the pupil. This way we can make it match in size to the other one as best we can. I recommend 2 to 3 layers of paint whenever you're working with acrylics on bags. This allows you to cover up the spaces or the cracks in between and really gives you a nice color. The only drawback to using acrylic paints is if you don't do enough layers, eventually they will fade. So don't be afraid to layer this up. And if you don't mind so much that it fades, then only do a couple. I honestly don't think it would be a bad look to have it fade on this black bag. I think that actually might be kind of cool after a little while. Just really trying to make sure that Totoro's eyes match each other. I have a feeling it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. It's kind of what makes him derpy and precious anyway. He's just a big old teddy bear. It's kind of like, yeah, I love nature and people and, you know, being a helper and letting people's crops grow and stuff. There needs to be a good guy Totoro meme out there, guys. Somebody make that happen for me, please. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell if things are even from close up, so I'm just gonna stand up real fast, look at this, and see what they look like from a little bit further away. Perfect. I think they look pretty good. Now I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush and add a highlight on the inside of Totoro's eyes. In order to do the highlight on this part of the eye, you're just gonna start in the corner closest to the middle, and you're just gonna make kind of a C shape or a backward C shape, whichever eye you're working on. Or like a weird little Pac-Man or something, I don't know. Just gonna make this shape, this weird little shape. And then you're gonna do it again on the other side. You can tell as the paint starts to dry where it needs other layers. So if you see that happening, go ahead and add some more paint.
Vincent, don't you dare. Stop. My cat's clawing the couch, y'all.
Every time I go into that weird little accent, I feel like Mamrie. Welcome to Maintown! Guys, can I just say that I really want Mamrie Hart's dog? Mamrie, if you're watching ever, please, you, me, Vincent, Calcifer, Beans, Goose, Grace, Hannah, her dog, all of us, in a place. Animals. Love y'all, mean it. You guys, secret projects in the works right now. Holy beep, 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 all the swear cats, I don't even care. There are some major painting things in the works right now that you guys don't know about, but WTF, mate. Like, this is gonna be epic. So now we're gonna move on to his nose. He's kind of got a kitty nose. A little bit. So I'm just gonna give him this. Ooh. If you get your hand in your paint, get it off your hand real quick, because you don't want to put your hand back down and then boop it some more. So I'm gonna give him this weird little like kitty cat nose kind of deal. I want Grace to be my best friend, goddammit. It will freaking happen. At the very least, we'll be on the same level one day. I might not have my own TV show, but next on Totoro's list of body parts to add to this are gonna be a little bit of like an eyebrow thing. Not exactly, but just kind of makes his eyes look a little better. Something. All right, guys, I just added some little eyebrow shapes to Totoro. That way we could give him a little bit more of a different expression. We are hopping into the whiskers now, and the best way to do this is to kind of guesstimate where the mouth is gonna be. You can do it first, but I don't like to. Just guesstimate kind of where that is and where you want it to fall, and then do the whiskers in the middle first. That way they're both straight, and then you can make the ones that go up and down a little bit more even and centered. So we're gonna start with the ones that go straight. There's markers now that we've painted things on the bag that kind of give you an idea on how long things can be. So if this is the straight whisker, I'm gonna line them up to where they start at the same place. And in order to know where it's gonna end over here, I just look, and this whisker stops about the same place that the eyeball is, the little pupil part. So we're just gonna kind of guesstimate about where that is and paint over. Look at that, guys, even whiskers, sweet! Guys, I lied, Totoro actually has a different shaped nose. This is looking a little too kitty-like for me. He has this kind of nose. It's more long and like crescent shaped. That's better, that's way more Totoro. I also wanna add just a little hint of fur right here. That kind of indicates where his nose meets his, like, I don't know, that weird part of animals' heads where like their noses go in. The muzzle, where like the muzzle meets the actual skull. Anatomy. Now that we have these friends that are straight, these are presumably the middle whiskers. I'm gonna make the top whiskers and the bottom whiskers angle out just a little bit. Not gonna be quite so straight. I want to leave about a ½ inch in between each whisker, so I just use my finger as a guide. If it's helpful, you can use your fabric paint here because that will help you make straight lines as well. I just like my paintbrush because it's what I have handy. It appears that these are about 2 knuckle widths away from one another, so just approximating where this other friend goes. If you guys saw it on my gray Totoro bag, my whiskers are completely different on both sides. One of them, they're almost like a equal sign where they're almost all straight, and then the other one, they're angled like this. It's pretty funny. That one also ended up being approximately 2 knuckles away from the other one. Guys, now we're gonna do the mouth. It kind of looks like a sideways comma, like a weird swirly teardrop. I think Totoro's cutest when he looks a little surprised. Like, what? So that's what I'm doing now. I'm making him a little surprised. And the last thing I'm gonna add are 3 small triangles down here with the acrylic paint. Then I'm just gonna go back in and add a couple of small highlights to finish off the bag. These are the triangles that are on his tummy, so really they would be way further down on his body, but since the bag is so small, and I really want this to look like Totoro and not just like a weird-faced animal creature, I'm gonna put those triangles in so that people know it's Totoro, guys, without a doubt. The triangles on Totoro aren't actually pointed. They have a little bit more of a rounded edge to them, kind of like the owl from Winnie the Pooh. Can't remember his name, but he had very similar tummy triangles as well. If they aren't completely symmetrical, it's okay. I bet you your freckles aren't all evenly spaced apart either. If you want to be extra technical though, you can use other things on the bag that we've already painted as reference in order to keep things perfectly spaced. Like you could line up the 2 triangles with the 2 straps up here and make sure that they're evenly spaced, and then put the middle one exactly in the middle of those. You saw I didn't do that. But if you're more OCD than I am, or just like things more perfecter, then you can do that too. The last thing we're gonna do is add a couple small details with our fabric paint. Be very careful when your fabric paint first comes out of the tube. You wanna make sure it doesn't splatter all over. That's why I did it in a spot that already had white acrylic on it, so that if it did moosh out, I could save it. I'm gonna add a little chin indicator underneath Totoro's mouth. And I think I'm gonna do these little lines up here that kind of just indicate that he's surprised. It's kind of like an eyebrow, but not really. Really, it's just like an eyelid. I want this to be a little bit pointier. I think I'm gonna do a little highlight on the left side of these. Y'all can see my hands shaking real bad on this one. Oh well. My sister has no idea how I paint lines straight at all because my hands shake so bad. Freaking sweet. All right, guys, this is our finished Totoro bag. I'm really excited with the way that it turned out. This is a really great and easy 30-minute project that you can do with yourself, friends, kids, family, something fun, and you get to take something home that's usable. I love practical projects, so this is a really great one to me. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Please share your bags with me if you do other characters, maybe the mask from Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away. Tag Weird Girl Series on Instagram to share your bags or any of your other artwork with me, and I would love to check it out. Also, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the other girls at weird-girls.com. See you next time.